using this, so I don't know if this is actually working as a live stream or not, but it might be. I don't know. Is it? You tell me. There's nobody watching right now. Let's see, how do we do this here? Is this recording? It's not telling me if it's recording, but it could be. Live. Let's see, let's stop. Hey. Well, it's 10:10 or 10:11 right now, and I'm going to start just talking about things that I think are neat. Let's talk about The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. I watched that show last night, and I came to a funny little realization about it the other day, which I just figured I'd share. I had the realization, then I watched the movie. I'm sure everyone's seen it, The Old Wizard of Oz. It's a pretty old movie. There are a few things about the movie that I thought were interesting and kind of related to what I'm seeing in the world today. So I'm going to share them. I'm just going to vlog a little bit because I'm, don't have people to talk to as much as I used to because everybody is self-isolating and doesn't want to hang out. So, The Wizard of Oz. We all know the Wizard of Oz. You know, the yellow brick road. It's actually not the only road. There's also a red brick road, as a content creator named Wooden Nichols pointed out, which brought up these thoughts that I had about the whole movie. And, the self-proclaimed good witch, the bad witch, the scarecrow, who gets called the straw man once or twice in the movie by Dorothy, which I thought was pretty interesting. But let's go to this scene where Scarecrow gets his brain, Tin Man gets his heart, and the lion gets his courage. All right. So the Scarecrow. Let's talk about the Scarecrow, because in the movie, the Scarecrow is he's pretty brilliant. He's pretty smart. He's the one who comes up with all the ideas. He's the one who knows what to do. He has a brain. He's talking. So the Scarecrow already has a brain. And he just doesn't know that. So he's a little naive and he doesn't really know that he has a brain, but he's talking. So he must have a brain. Those things kind of go hand in hand. So when the Scarecrow shows up, let's leave him back a bit and talk about the Tin Man. Because the Tin Man, as we all know, he has a heart because he cries a lot. And he really is he's the most caring of the whole group. He doesn't think he has a heart, but he does. He has a heart. He displays all the characteristics of a person who has a good heart. And then the lion does very courageous things in the movie. So, yeah, of course the lion would have courage. He's all about courage. He's a lion. But these things also represent other things, like the Scarecrow representing the straw man, right? The straw man is like a logical fallacy. That's what the straw man is. It's not a very good argument. Just if we're going to keep it really simple, that's what a straw man is. In the straw man argument, you kind of just make the argument silly and you don't really discuss what the argument is. And so in The Wizard of Oz, when the Scarecrow goes to get his brain, the wizard isn't exactly the best type of person. He's deceptive and he lies and he doesn't want to give anybody anything. So what this Scarecrow wants is a brain. He goes, wizard, he's like, hey, wizard, give me a brain, And there's all this stuff that gets said about Scarecrow actually says something in that movie. Right here he says, some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. That's a setup for what comes later in the movie when he gets his diploma. Because when he gets his diploma, he's satisfied. He's like, oh, I have a brain now. Oh, and he knows everything. Like he knows He knows everything. His brain is switched on because he got the diploma given to him by the authority figure who was the wizard. And that's pretty much all that happens with that. He gets his brain and he's satisfied, and nobody corrects the issue for him or anything. And then the lion gets a medal, and the medal gives him courage. And while they're giving him this medal, they also insult veterans a little bit in the movie, and they say that they've never done a courageous thing throughout their whole life, which is, it's not very, I don't think it's very funny. It's not very, it's just, the lion already had courage. Same with the scarecrow, already had a brain. And the Tin Man, now the Tin Man, I think he's like a robot. I don't know. They don't really get explicit about him being a robot, but I think he's a robot. He gets the speech from the wizard, and the wizard gives him a ticking heart. But before he gives him the ticking heart, he gives him this speech about how hearts won't be useful unless they're made unbreakable. And he also says that this is like, he stops and he holds the guy and he says, "Now remember this. A heart is not measured by how much you love, but how much you are loved by others." Which is where we stem our approval-seeking behavior, I would like to believe anyways. And yeah, there's that. So like the scarecrow has this logical fallacy that a diploma gives him a brain, and before he had the diploma, he didn't have a brain. And the courage of the lion comes from the medal, but he had the most courage out of everyone. He did a lot of courageous things. And the Tin Man had the most heart. And the thing that the wizard left him with wasn't exactly the best message for being a loving, caring person. So yeah, just wanted to share that. There was also another scene in the movie where the witch puts everyone to sleep. This one was pretty funny because what did the witch use to put everyone to sleep? If anyone remembers, does anyone remember? I remember. The witch used poppies, and if you don't know what poppies are, what's significant about poppies is poppies have opiates, and the opiates in the poppies, I don't know if you knew this, but I found this out the other day. I thought it was pretty interesting. Most pharmaceutical medicines have opiates in them, and these poppies, they make everybody fall asleep. Everyone falls asleep, except for the Tin Man and Scarecrow, of course, because they're not human. They don't sleep. And what woke them up was snow, which is also happened to be asbestos, which is an interesting little fact. And I'm just gonna try to open up my computer here at 10 o'clock every night and try to share at least 10 minutes worth of talking. It can go over that. I'm just going to share my thoughts here, just in case someone wants to hear them, just in case this could help someone. Because for me, hey, Richard, I said, hi. Hey. For me, the whole scarecrow thing reminds me of a lot of people I've argued with, not just argued with, but heard people talking. They say, like, when it comes to what's happening today with everything, with the way the world's going, if you want to argue counter narrative stuff with anybody, what you get is, I didn't go to college for 7 years. I didn't go to university for 7 years. So how could I possibly know anything about me and the way my body works? And, how could I know anything? How could I possibly know anything? I didn't go to school for 7 years. That comes from that scarecrow scene. That sounds exactly like that scarecrow scene to me. So, it was just like something went click. I'm like, oh, that's where that comes from. That's just something I want to share because I thought it was funny. That's about 10 minutes worth of sharing. That's good. I'm having fun here. Let's maybe I'll play a song. Let's see how it comes through and test this microphone out. What do you think? Is that a bad idea? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? Or is that just an idea? Is there such thing as good and bad ideas? I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm going to play a song on my guitar. I have a guitar. I'm going to play it. Song! Here comes the song. This one's called Patterning. It's a neat little ditty. I like to play it. Hopefully it comes through good on the microphone. My cat's running around, and my cat almost knocked over my computer just there. That's okay. I'm going to play a song. Let's move this camera a little bit. You can see the guitar. Here we go. I am a patterning of patterns, patterning through the void. And I know that that's a little abstract, yeah. Oh, but the message is deep I hide, I'll seek down low, 'cause I've watched it flow. Everything I love is here, and all of this will disappear. I hide, I see, I find, I found everything I love, and it's here. All of this will disappear. It doesn't matter if you pray a hand on it one day, it'll all go away. Ready or not, it all goes. Letting it come down low. Watched it flow. Everything I love is here. All of this here has appeared, and it's all right here today. Yeah. We hide, we seek, we find, we found. Everything we love, and it's here. Everything we love is right here. Thank you. That song's called Patterning. I wrote that song. Yay. Hi, Vern. Free bird. I am now a free bird. Tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. I've been hearing the word void over and over for, say, it's so weird. I find hear it in your music. Love your music. Makes me smile. That's good. We like smiling. Yay, music. Woo. How do you like my wall? Look at my wall with all the fanciest wallpapers. I did it myself. With a little bit of help. Hey, Verno. Just chilling here too. Yeah. Well, I just got here. And I just finished talking. I'm going to do a 10-minute video for 10 days every day, if I can. Around 10 after 10. Just start talking. This is a blue bottle with blue glass. It is blue glass with water inside of it. Did you know that back in the 1800s, I can't remember the name of the guy, but some guy won a Nobel Peace Prize for the healing effects of blue water. And now Google calls it a pseudoscience. So what was up with that Nobel Peace Prize then? I don't know. Like, what? What, you want a Nobel Peace Prize for pseudoscience? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, yes, it is cool and refreshing. I have another interesting tale to tell of the Three Little Pigs. You know the Three Little Pigs, right? Yeah, everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs. For some reason, we got told this Three Little Pig. They're puppets on my wall. We got this Three Little Pig story going around, and everybody knows it. When you're born, you hear the Three Little Pigs story, right? Well, didn't make you money, so they had to switch it up. No, that's right. That's exactly what goes on most of the time. Speaking of money, this story relates to that because I was going around the town of Peace River here, and I noticed the Mason Lodge. In fact, I recorded a little video. It's 25 minutes. I might do a recording of and watch it sometime. But I started with the Mason Lodge. And the Mason Lodge, they have this sign up that says they meet every Ford Thursday. And it's been like that for 2 years. And it says FRD, Thursday. It's supposed to say third Thursday, but somebody put a 4 there. And they put it there about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And it makes me wonder if they still use that because, you know, I it's still there. Do they still use that building? I don't know. But it's pretty funny that they left it up for 2 years. Maybe they do it every fourth Thursday. But why didn't they change the R and the D to a T and H? I don't know. Anyways, that's the way that video starts. And then I go around and I take videos and pictures of all the bricks around town. Like Peace River has some really nice brickwork. You should go take a look when you get the chance. They got a castle here. One of the oldest buildings in town. It's a little red brick castle. It's pretty nice. But what I realize is which buildings have the most bricks. If you're going to use, now keep the Three Little Pig mentality in mind while you think about which buildings have the most bricks. The ones that are made of bricks all the way around are the provincial buildings and the courthouse. Those ones have bricks all the way around. Also, there are a few banks and insurance buildings, and it's like those. There's quite a few of them, and they have really nice brickwork. But the point of it is that who has the brick houses, and who has the wooden houses? Who lives in the wooden houses? It's the people, general public lives in wooden houses. A few people have nice brick houses, but the majority of us live in the wooden houses. And if you want to think of like the town hall's pretty nice. They got a nice facade. A facade, as it's spelled, facet. A facade. It's the front. They have the front all brick, and the building next to that, Telus building, has some pretty nice bricks. The money makers get brick. That's right, because they want to endure. They want to, it's like we get this story when we're kids, and then we got to look at who has the brick houses and who has the wooden houses. And the straw houses, those are people with blankets and sleeping bags. We'll just say that's the straw houses. They don't actually have a wooden house to stand up. They just have their sleeping bag that they carry around with them. So, they could just easily, they could have taught masonry in school, teach people how to make bricks and how to put them together and do these things. They could have just taught it at school, but no, it's got to be part of the secret club. The secret club, and all the secret people in the secret club, they're making banks and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd share that because I thought that was pretty interesting insight that I have. This is just going to be me sharing my insights from now on and having conversations with whoever comes along. I like talking to people. I also found out the last couple of years that I tend to talk a lot, and and there aren't very many people to talk to these days. I think I've already said that, but this seems like a pretty good platform to just, share some stuff, because I have insights, and normally the way I share them is I go and talk to my friends and I bounce ideas off of them. But those days seem to be on the hee-haw, you know what I mean? On hee-haw. Freemasonry, spooky shit. You oh, that's another thing about the Freemasonry thing. So there's a monument that they're just outside of town here to I should invite people to talk podcast with. That's a really good idea. There's this monument dedicated to Dr. Green, and Dr. Green is said to be one of the first to fly. And he was the first to fly with one of the Wright brothers. And this thing about the Wright brothers being the first to fly is just not accurate. It's not accurate at all, because before the Wright brothers, they had the dirigibles, which is the airships. And there's quite a few videos you can watch to see the history of those. But before the airships in the 1600s, they had balloons. And lots of people were flying balloons back then. So to say that the Wright brothers were the first to fly is inaccurate. It's part of a narrative that, this is the only way to fly. If we didn't have that narrative, people might still be trying to fly on their own a little bit more, I'd imagine. Anyways, that's what I would think, if people were a little bit more open to the ideas of, like these things, like we went to space and we learned how to fly and we do all these things as a collective, but you never went to space. I never went to space. It's not we. It's not we that go to space. It's not we that fly. We have to rely on others and institutions to tell us what that means. So, when there's inaccurate things, I tend to point them out because I have an analytical nature to myself. So, I've been accused of being negative sometimes, or maybe focusing on bad things, but you know what? We all got to use our abilities. And when I see bullshit, I point it out. Yeah, maybe we could podcast sometime, Vicky. That'd be fun. I mean, you got some stuff you can share, and you're learning things, so you know, just to like get some. What do you think about that, Vic? What do you think about a podcast thingamajigger in the future? Yeah, that'd be good. I'm not sure how it works. I wonder if I could like invite you right now. You're probably not ready to just go on camera. You're probably not camera ready because it's pretty late at night. But I probably just could invite you right now. Say something. I won't. I won't. But in the future, we will have guests and we will talk about cool things. It's interesting to be streaming on all these different platforms at once. Anyway, I like it. You got my attention. I like you, buddy. Let's see. Let's read the comments here. I've been invited to a podcast before, but I've been invited, but I would consider it. Well, I know lots of cool people who would have lots of cool things to share about on here. Okay. Should find topics, then plan a podcast. That's a good idea. I only wanted to talk for 10 minutes today, but I just ended up going a little bit longer because I didn't think I would be this comfortable just talking. Because the reason what was stopping me from doing this was talking to myself, but it's actually not that difficult. Hello! And plus, you can say hello to everyone that pops on as you just express. Just express. One part of me feels like I should be careful what I say on here, but the other part just says I should just say whatever I want to say and deal with the consequences. Okay, so I don't know. Like one thing I want to mention on this thing here is I will be sharing my personal truth on here, and some people have differing opinions from my personal truth, and I'm okay with having disagreements. I'm okay with debating. I'm okay with talking about things. What I'm not okay with is when you use logical fallacies to prove your argument, because that has happened a lot in the Facebook land, like especially with an appeal to authority. That's the biggest one. And the straw man and ad hominem. There's just so many logical fallacies that if they come through the chat or anytime in any place, I just won't engage with them. I'll just point them out and say, oh, there's another logical fallacy. Pass that on and leave that alone. Happy feral cats. Remember those days? Oh, yeah, man, agree. So I don't know if anybody follows astrology in any way, but I do. And I happen to be a Gemini, which talking is my thing. And I'm trying to step into that today because I don't know if anybody knows anything about Uranus, but Uranus is a gas giant. Uranus also has rings around it. And Uranus is pretty far out. Also, Uranus is deep in space. And Uranus just switched on today, like is going forward. And also later tonight, we'll be having a Mercury retrograde. So everything that I do from this point on will be reviewed because Mercury is going into shadow tonight. And shadow is like the review point from what I understand. Because I just went through a really interesting transit with Mars in my 12th house. It sounds like I'm speaking Chinese now. It's actually astrology. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Like not politically correct, and I have no desire to be, but whatever. So I just had this really interesting. I always have these interesting displays of what transits mean in my real life. And I just went through a 12th house transit with Mars, which my 12th house is Aries. So Aries is like my true self. And I found out that what my true self needs is personal space, because I had someone living with me as soon as Mars went into its shadow period. And she was a really great, nice person. I really liked her. It was a very sacred relationship, but we didn't get along after a while because it was my space that she moved into, and it just didn't go very well after a while because just she wasn't getting. I don't want to talk too much because then I just don't want to trash anybody. I want to say that like interesting things happen. Life goes on. Life is good. Yes, the shadow period. Yeah. Haven't heard. Actually, last Thursday was when that person left my house. And of course, there's been some emotional moments, and there's been some thoughts, and looking around and having reminders and saying to myself, she's gone. And then seeing something that reminds me of her. And I just say, thanks. And then I say the person's name. I'm not going to say the person's name on here because they don't have a Facebook account and you may or may not know them. But this is not going to be a gossip thing. I'm not going to gossip on here. But I'm going to tell you my coping strategies because, everybody needs coping strategies. And as I also happen to be a youth worker, and I have to learn to be in healthy relationships. If I'm not in a healthy relationship, then I can't do that. Saturn rings, those are the ones that go on your ring finger. It's the binding. The Saturn's not all bad. Saturn's rings are it's like the eye. The eye? You ever see Saturn? It looks like an eye up in the sky. Saturn also has the black cube and the hexagon on top of it. I don't know if you know much about Saturn relating to black cubes. I did know the rings of Saturn sing. I also saw Saturn in Bill and Ted at the end of the movie. Have you ever seen that new Bill and Ted movie? Saturn is like huge. It's like bigger than the Earth. And you can also see it from the moon. You're on the moon, you see Saturn, you see the Earth. And then that reminds me of that thing David Icke talked about with the Saturn moon matrix. It's kind of funny. I see Saturn. Saturn shows up in movies like all the time. Like every time I'm watching a movie, you'll see Saturn somewhere, or a black cube, or black goo. And there's also a couple of other symbols that are related to Saturn. You haven't watched Bill and Ted yet? Yeah, Saturn is really interesting. The mythology of Saturn and what Saturn means. Like, I don't know if you know what the symbol for Saturn looks like. It's like a T and a H put together, like, but it's like one. It's a T with a lowercase h. If you think about what that looks like, this is actually. I'll just draw it for you because I can do that. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. I might have to draw it in reverse. Horrible, horrible, horribly messy. All right. This is Saturn. Ta-da! That's one symbol for Saturn. And what Saturn, this is, it looks like a person. It also kind of looks like a little, if I draw a little door down here, it's a church. See, it's got the nice cross on top, a little building. You go inside a church. So Saturn rules organization, authority, structure, all these things. And it looks like a church. And because it looks like a church, makes me think about the church. And what does the church represent? It represents authority, because you got your authority figures in the church. It's got structure. You show up every Sunday, sometimes other days. And it also has its other qualities that are all related to Saturn. The church has all of these interesting correlations to the church. And I don't mean to offend anybody when I say that what's true about the word Saturn. Saturn, the word Saturn actually used to be Satan. True. It's true. Look it up. And the principle of Satan is Saturn. And Saturn, this principle is just the principle, like Saturn is the ruler of hell, right? He doesn't do all of the things that the people come into hell for. He's just the person who, does his job. So there's this thing about that. And, just like any external authority would be a Saturn figure. And they're not always bad, but, sometimes they aren't. And I have authority issues. I always have. So finding out these things about Saturn and, people who get things done, they plan. And that's another Saturn thing. And they have contracts. That's another Saturn thing. And they seem to be the authority to go to on this. So it turns out a lot of people in high places of authority worship Saturn. And you know this because they have paintings of Saturn. And the paintings of Saturn, sometimes you have paintings of Saturn eating his kids, because in his mythology, Kronos, who is Saturn, he eats his kids. He eats all of his kids because he doesn't want anybody to rule over him. And then one day, I can't remember which goddess it was, one of the goddesses tricked Saturn into not eating Jupiter. So then Jupiter was born, and then Jupiter ruled, and then we move on, and then it was the time of Aries, Mars, and then Venus, and then Sun, and now we're in Sun and Moon times. There's all this really interesting mythology that goes along with it. But punishes. Oh, punishes. Yes, the Punisher. I'll have to save that for next time. I'm going to have a story for next time. The punish. I have a couple of stories I want to share, but I think maybe I'll just play one more song and then I'll be outie. One more song. 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 Thanks. I appreciate you guys appreciating my talking. All right. Love you guys. You're all great. Live streaming at 10 every day for the next 10 days. Maybe 10 a.m. too, but that's a little less likely. But 10 p.m. for sure. 10 p.m. for sure. One more song. One more song. 1 million more songs. One day that'll be the chant that everybody will sing. 1 million more songs. 1 million more songs. Okay. Just gonna play this one. Time this thing occurred to me. Well, I was sitting here, and that thing occurred to me within my inner ear, right up in here. Yeah, right up in here. Up here. And I ain't gonna worry anymore. I'm just gonna sit here and sing a little more. Hey! And I'll be like, in my inner ear, yeah, up in here, and ain't gonna worry anymore. Just gonna sit here and sing a little more, and I'll be like, I'm a scat man. Excuse me. So many times this thing's occurred to me while I was sitting here. So many times this thing's occurred to me. So many times, don't you know? And now it's clear. Wait, now it is so clear. Oh yes, it's clear. And I ain't gonna worry. I'm just gonna sit here and leave my anxieties at your door. And I'll be like, One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. time. No time. Kitty wants to say hello before I go. Hey, say bye, Freya. Bye. Say bye, Freya. Spunky wants to say goodbye. My Wawa. Spunky, say goodbye. Hey, Spunky, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Spunky. Bye. Good boy. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. And don't be afraid to share whatever you got on your mind, because you might help someone. Night. Peace. Thanks for joining me. Ciao for meow. Bye for meow. Ciao for meow. Meow. Meow.